welcome to the deep dive. We've got some fascinating source material to dive into today.
Oh, yeah.
It looks like we're going behind the scenes of conversational AI.
Interesting.
Not the algorithms or anything like that, but
Yeah.
the raw data that's used to train them.
Well, you've given us a fascinating peek into how these AI systems
Yeah,
learn to converse.
right.
It's kind of like we've got this massive script for a
Wow.
very, very repetitive play.
So you're saying that the source material is basically just this
Yeah.
giant list of back and forth exchanges?
Yeah.
Like, how's the weather? It's
Exactly.
like, hey,
Yeah, and what's really fascinating is the sheer breadth of topics and situations that are covered.
right?
It's not just pleasantries. You know, you've got questions about relationships,
Really?
hypothetical scenarios,
Wow.
even lines that seem like they're straight out of a fairy tale.
Yeah, that's what I noticed too,
Yeah.
just the variety in it.
Yeah.
Like, why would an AI need to know? Who stole the apple from Snow White? It seems so random.
It might surprise you to learn that these seemingly trivial conversations about
Yeah.
the weather fairy tales, even the location of a book, they actually form the bedrock of the AI's understanding.
Okay.
It's like building a house.
Hmm.
You can't have elaborate architecture without a solid foundation.
So even though it seems simple to us,
Right.
for an AI, this is like
Yeah.
learning the alphabet of human interaction.
Precisely. Each of these mundane exchanges is a data point that helps the AI adjust its internal parameters.
Okay.
It's like training a neural network.
Mm.
The more data you feed it, the better it becomes at recognizing patterns and making connections.
I'm starting to get the picture here.
Good.
It's not just about teaching AI specific
Yeah.
phrases.
Yeah.
It's about helping it to develop a broader understanding of
Yeah.
language and how we use it.
Exactly.
But I have to admit, some of the questions and responses still seem a bit odd.
Oh, yeah.
Like, are you mad?
Uh-huh.
No, I am not.
Right. Well, that's where sentiment analysis comes in.
Okay.
The AI is being trained to not just understand the words themselves,
Yeah.
but also the emotional tone behind them.
Uh-huh.
So in that example, it's learning to recognize and respond to emotional cues.
So it's not just learning to talk, it's learning to feel.
Yeah,
That's a little unsettling, but also incredibly fascinating.
it is fascinating, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it gets even more complex when you consider the inclusion of humor
Oh, wow.
and cultural references.
Okay.
The AI needs to be exposed to a wide range of linguistic styles and expressions
Right.
to truly grasp the nuances of human communication.
It's making me rethink how I interact with AI.
Yeah.
I mean, I always knew there were algorithms at play, but
Right.
I never really thought about the vast amount of data that goes into shaping these systems.
It's true.
It's almost like watching a digital brain develop piece by piece.
You're absolutely right. The training data is the foundation upon which all of the AI's abilities are built. And as we create more sophisticated systems, the data becomes even more crucial.
So what does this mean for the future of conversational AI? Are we headed towards a world where we can have deep philosophical conversations with our smartphones?
Well, maybe not philosophical conversations just yet.
Okay.
But what's fascinating is that we're moving beyond simple question and answer interactions.
Right.
These systems are being trained to understand intent,
Right.
context,
Hmm.
and even generate their own responses in a more natural and meaningful way.
That's pretty mind-blowing.
Yeah.
But with all this focus on human-like conversation,
Yeah,
is there a risk of the AI becoming too human?
that's an interesting question.
Like, do we really want our smartphones arguing with us or
Yeah.
getting offended?
That's a question a lot of people are asking, and rightfully so.
Yeah.
As we create increasingly sophisticated AI, it's crucial to consider the implications.
Right.
It's like walking a tightrope.
Uh-huh.
Finding the right balance between creating AI that's helpful and engaging without crossing any lines that could be unsettling or potentially even harmful.
It's a lot to consider.
Yeah, it is.
This deep dive has given me a whole new appreciation for the complexity of building conversational AI. It's not just about programming a bunch of responses.
Right.
It's about understanding the nuances of human language, culture,
Uh-huh.
and emotions.
Absolutely. And the more we understand how these systems are trained,
Right.
the better equipped we are to navigate the evolving landscape of AI.
You know, as we're talking, I keep flipping back to the actual data.
Okay.
And one thing that really jumps out at me
Yeah.
is how many questions are focused on personal information? Like, are you married? What's your favorite color?
Right.
Stuff like that.
Yeah.
It seems almost trivial compared to all the complex stuff we've been discussing.
That's an astute observation, and it's actually more significant than you might think.
Okay.
Remember, the goal here isn't just to create an AI that can process information. It's about creating an AI that can engage in human-like conversation.
So these seemingly trivial questions
Yeah.
are actually helping the AI learn how to interact socially.
Exactly.
It's not just about knowing the answer.
Right.
It's about knowing when it's appropriate to ask or share that information.
These questions and the way they're answered in the training data help to establish the AI's persona, its social intelligence, if you will.
Okay, so it's like they're giving the AI a personality.
Yeah.
But isn't that a bit deceptive?
Well,
I mean, it's not a real person.
yeah.
It's just lines of code.
That's an interesting point, and it raises a question that researchers are grappling with.
Oh, right.
Where do we draw the line between functionality and authenticity?
Right.
The AI isn't human, but to interact seamlessly with humans,
Right.
it needs to be able to simulate certain aspects of human behavior.
I guess that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's kind of like acting in a way.
Uh-huh.
The AI is playing a role and the training data is like its script.
That's a great analogy. And as AI becomes more sophisticated, this acting becomes more nuanced.
Oh, wow.
We're talking about AI systems that can tailor their responses to individual users, learn from their interactions, and even develop their own unique communication styles.
Wow. So it's not just about following a pre-programmed script.
Right.
It's about improvisation and adaptation. That's pretty impressive.
It is impressive, and it highlights the fact that AI development isn't just about technology. It's about understanding human psychology. To create truly conversational AI, developers need to consider things like empathy, humor, even cultural sensitivity.
It's a lot more complex than I initially realized.
Yeah.
But I'm still curious about those random phrases sprinkled throughout the data.
Okay.
Like, that's amazing, or I can't believe it.
Right.
They don't seem to fit into the question and answer format.
Uh-huh.
What's the purpose of those?
Yes, those seemingly out-of-place exclamations. Those are there to expose the AI to a wider range of linguistic structures and expressions.
Okay.
It's not just about teaching it to respond to specific prompts.
Right.
It's about helping it develop a more intuitive understanding of language.
So it's like they're trying to make the AI sound more natural, less robotic.
Precisely. And it goes beyond just sounding natural. By incorporating these unconventional elements into the training data, developers are hoping to create AI that can express itself creatively, even poetically.
That's incredible. So we're not just talking about AI that can answer your questions.
Right.
We're talking about AI that can tell you a story, write a poem, maybe even compose a song.
That's the direction we're heading in, and it's exciting because it points to a future where AI isn't just a tool, but a collaborator, a creative partner.
It makes you wonder what the limits are.
Yeah.
I mean, if we can teach AI to understand and express itself like this, what else is possible?
That's the big question, isn't it? And to answer that, we need to keep exploring.
Right.
Keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible with AI.
Well, this deep dive has certainly opened my eyes to the possibilities.
Good.
It's amazing to see how much effort goes into making these AI systems seem so human-like.
Yeah.
And it makes you wonder. It makes you wonder what kind of impact this is all going to have on society. I mean, if AI can be trained to be this convincing, how do we know it's real anymore?
That's a powerful question, and it gets to the heart of why understanding AI training data is so important. The more we rely on these systems for communication, information, even companionship, the more critical it becomes to understand how they're shaped.
So you're saying that by understanding the data, we can better understand the AI itself?
Yeah.
And maybe even predict how it might behave?
Exactly. The data is like a blueprint for the AI's mind. It reveals not only what the AI knows, but also how it thinks, how it makes decisions.
That's a bit unsettling, to be honest. It's like we're peering into the inner workings of a digital brain. But I guess it's also empowering in a way. If we understand the data, we can have more control over the AI.
You've hit on a crucial point, Control. As AI becomes more integrated into our lives, the question of control becomes increasingly important. Who decides what data is used to train these systems? Who sets the parameters for their behavior?
Those are big questions, and honestly, they're a little intimidating. It's like we're creating something that we don't fully understand and that could potentially have unintended consequences.
It's true, AI development is a journey into the unknown, but that's what makes it so fascinating. We're constantly learning, adapting, pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
And the data is our guide on that journey. It's the key to understanding not only where AI is today, but also where it might be headed tomorrow.
This deep dive has been a fascinating exploration of that data. We've seen how simple conversations, seemingly mundane questions, can actually reveal profound insights into the nature of AI.
It's definitely made me think differently about how I interact with these systems. I used to see them as just tools, but now I realize they're much more than summer, that they're reflections of ourselves, of our language, our culture, our hopes and fears.
And as AI continues to evolve, that reflection will only become more complex, more nuanced, more human-like.
It's a future that's both exciting and a little bit scary.
Hmm.
But thanks to this deep dive, we're a little bit better prepared to navigate it. We've learned to look beyond the surface, to see the data beneath the code, and to understand the power it holds.
And as you continue to encounter AI in your daily life, remember to keep asking questions. Question the assumptions, question the biases, question the very nature of intelligence itself.
That's great advice because the conversation about AI is just beginning, and it's a conversation that we all need to be a part of. Thanks for joining us on the deep dive.